Hey guys, Stephen Bogren here, Pro Physique, and today I want to get salty. Is that thing on? We good? We good? Cool. So let's talk about getting salty or sodium intake today. Because I had something come up and it struck me as quite important. Because sodium intake is one of those things I think that a lot of us take for granted. And it's something that not only, we want to make sure that we have in check for general health stuff like blood pressure, but we need it for things like our heart to continue beating. And one of those, sodium is it has this range and we can be around it, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But the RDA for sodium for normal Americans is 2 grams, right? 2,000 milligrams a day, essentially. That is for your normal sedentary non-active individual. So let's talk kind of about what sodium does and the roles that it plays in your body. So first and foremost, it is part of healthy muscle function. Healthy muscle function. So we need sodium in order for our muscles to be able to do work, to contract, right? Now, that doesn't just mean things like the biceps, right? That also means things like your heart. Remember, cardiac muscle is still muscle. So if we have no sodium, we have no contraction in our heart. We can in fact have something like a heart attack, right? Now, your body has ways to prevent this from happening. What happens is your kidneys will reabsorb the sodium when it sees that sodium levels are coming down. So if you have a chronically low sodium intake, it means that your kidneys are chronically they're bringing back in the sodium again. So they're reabsorbing more sodium. Now, if you have a chronically high sodium intake, it means that the converse is true, right? Your kidneys are like, hey, we definitely don't need to reabsorb all this sodium. We can pee it out and not have too much of an issue. And so sodium levels are kept within a normal range in the body. We call that homeostasis. So remember, homeostasis is a good thing. That means we're alive. So, but if you are having an extremely low sodium intake, it can be very dangerous, especially if it's for an extended period of time. We have seen people die because of use of diuretics and no sodium, and getting what they call hyponatremia, right? That is hypo, too little, natremia is essentially sodium, right? So too little sodium. And you can have a heart attack about this. This can cause cardiac arrest. So it's a very, very serious thing when we talk about sodium and diuretics in a contest prep, okay? So if you are loading sodium to get your kidneys to let it all go and then cutting sodium and getting rid of water, you're putting yourself in a very dangerous place, especially if you're doing things like restriction grade diuretics. Here in Tampa Bay a few years ago, we had a competitor die in his hotel room in between prejudging and the night show. This is not a joke, okay? Sodium is very serious. You need it to stay alive. So let's talk about what should we be doing with sodium. So unless otherwise instructed by your doctor because of something like high blood pressure, I never recommend going underneath the RDA for sodium. I myself normally intake around 5 to 6 grams a day of sodium right now. The other thing that we need to take into account is that sodium is used in muscle function. So when we work out, when we exercise, when we lift, when we run, when we sweat, right? So we sweat out sodium as well. It's also excreted through our sweat glands, through the skin. But that all uses up sodium. We have to make sure that we are intaking enough sodium to support the activities that we are doing so that we can perform well as also, right? We are athletes. If you are in the gym, if you are a bodybuilder, you are an athlete. You are a physique athlete, that is still an athlete. You need to fuel your body to properly perform for when it matters. Granted, when we have to perform when it matters is daily, but we do not, absolutely do not want to down all of our sodium intake so to put ourselves in a place where we now can't make lifts, can't perform, and just kind of feel like garbage. So remember guys, sodium is big, it is important. It is not only part of staying alive, but it's part of staying healthy and performing at a high level. So when we're talking about going into a show, and I know if you follow Paul, he just did a video on don't cut sodium. And I'm going to sort of piggyback on that a little bit. If you really want to go check out this video, go over to his YouTube channel, check it out. It's another one. But when we talk about sodium, we need it for blood volume. And that's why the doctors say if your blood pressure is high, you have to cut your sodium, right? So if we need blood volume, so we need sodium for blood volume, what does that mean? That means if we are to get a pump, we have to have sodium, right? Because if we have no blood volume, there's no blood to send to the muscles, right? How do nutrients get into the muscles? It's via the blood. So if we don't have enough blood volume, blood flow is negatively impacted. We don't get nutrients to the muscle. So if we're trying to carb up, right? We need water and carbs both to go to the muscle and be delivered for us to fill out. So if we're having no sodium throughout the week, again, we now no longer can fill out, right? Blood volume is why. So, day of the show, we can't get a pump up backstage. Water, sodium, right? Blood volume. It all comes back to the normal things of homeostasis, right? We want things to be regular. Going into a peak week should not be magic. If you're not lean enough, you're simply not lean enough. Not being full is not going to help you anymore. If anything, it might make you look worse because then you look stringier and you actually look like you're less lean than you are, right? We want you to be in a place of restored homeostasis on the show day. Full muscle bellies, feeling good, able to contract, able to get a pump, and to look your best. So doing things like cutting sodium, cutting water, they will make you look worse, okay? We want to keep them within normal ranges. We want your body to be able to fill out. We want plenty of water. We want plenty of sodium. We want them within the normal ranges, okay? And we want those because of the fact that we need to get nutrients to the muscle. Those carbohydrates, they need water to be stored with them, to be stored as glycogen, right? 1 gram of glycogen, 2.7 grams of water. That's how it goes. If you have no blood volume, you're not getting water, nor are you getting the carbs to the muscle. Sodium and water are important. So if there's one thing I can hope that I beat the dead horse enough today, it's please, please, please pay attention to your sodium. Make sure you're getting enough. Don't go to dangerously low levels. If you do, please don't do it for very long. Pay attention to your health. Know that no show is worth dying for. And that if you really want to look your best, it's not something you need to be messing with anyways. I'm going to leave it there, guys. It's a little bit short of a video today, but this is something that came up today, and I was very, very adamant about it. I wanted to get it out there for you. So hopefully we have a great week. Starting off Monday on a strong note. I'll talk to you soon.